Hi, my name is Megan, and this is Everything Lit. And today, I'm going to be talking about my January wrap-up. So for January, I finished a total of 11 books, started the 12th, but I'll finish that in February. And a lot of them were actually like ebooks, audiobooks, books that I don't own, and I need to start focusing on the books I do own. But I really just wanted to start a bunch of cozy series, and my library had them in ebook form. The first book I want to talk about is The Wicked Women of Detroit. I don't remember who it's by, so I'll pop it on the screen. This I really wanted to read. I had the audiobook from my library. It took like several months because it's really popular for it to come in. But then I got about 40-50% of the way through, and it just wasn't what I expected, and it wasn't what I wanted. So I did DNF this. So Wicked Women of Detroit is about very large court cases, women who did bad things, and I thought it would be an exploration of like famous like gangster women in Detroit and like their lives and like what made them turn to crime or like the exploits of like their criminal stuff. I just thought it would be more about like badass women, and even if they're doing bad things, like being cool. I don't know. And really it focused on the court trials, and it didn't give enough detail. It was really like they went to court on this date and, you know, she poisoned her husband and then got caught, and like it just was not what I wanted it to be. And so I DNF'd it. Surprising, I know. Next book I want to talk about is Assaulted Caramel by Amanda Flower. This is a cozy mystery. I got this from my library as well. It was pretty cute. Our main character is a famous chocolatier living in New York, but she's from a small town in Ohio. And even though her parents are not Amish, her grandparents are. And her grandparents own this Amish candy shop. And she goes back because her grandfather is not well. And then a day or two later, a man is found murdered outside of their candy shop, and her grandfather is the main suspect. And then she is also a suspect because she finds the body. This story was okay. I did enjoy the character. I enjoyed one of the characters had a pet pig. So like that was cute. There was a little cat that she takes care of. Like cozies always have like a buddy animal. But there is something about like people can live their lives however they want, but I wasn't in love with like the Amish stuff, and I should have known it was called like Amish Candy Shop Mystery, but I just like didn't care for that. And there was a lot of tension between like the Amish townspeople and like the police force, which is not Amish. I wasn't into that like aspect of the plot. So while I did give this first one 3 stars, I don't think I'm going to continue with this series. There are a lot of cozy mysteries out there, and if I'm feeling like lukewarm on it, I really don't need to continue. Next on my list, Priest by Sierra Simone. So I read this for the Cliterature Book Club, and I was kind of able to be on the live show, but I was at work, so I wasn't like logged in as myself. I couldn't really participate, but I did like hearing what the hosts thought, and I'll link that live show down below if you read Priest or if you've read Priest in the past and want to see what people said. This is by Sierra Simone, and it is about a priest, Tyler, who his faith is tested by a beautiful woman, and she comes to confession one day and confesses about being a stripper, and he gets really hot and bothered, and they like start this affair. This is a romance. I didn't like it. I overall just like did not like it. Here's the thing. Vino, can you not? I have read 2 other books by Sierra Simone, and I really loved both of those. Priest is not my bag. I'm not into the hot priest thing. I was reading it for this book club, and I'll tell you what, the sex scenes were smoking hot. Like they were well written, they were good, but the plot, it was basically a cheating storyline, and I don't like cheating storylines. Except instead of cheating on a wife, he was cheating on God. which is such a weird dynamic. And just like, I don't like stories where like guilt is a big part of it. And of course, you know, Catholic priests can't marry or like they're supposed to be pure or whatever. And so that was one of the big main conflicts, was that he needed to choose between being a priest and being with this woman. And on top of that, their relationship, while I understand how they connected emotionally, we were in Tyler's head like the whole time. There was a lot of focus on like her red lips, and like he just immediately wanted to like be with this woman. And just I wasn't here for it. I wasn't into it. I read the whole thing and I should have probably DNF'd it. And the ending, like the third act conflict or whatever, was just, I don't want to say it was stupid, but it was kind of stupid. It was a miscommunication trope, and I'm not here for that. So I gave it 3 stars because like it wasn't the worst thing I've ever read. Like it was well written. The sex scenes were good. I just didn't like the overall framing of the plot. So like 3 stars. I understand why other people might be seriously into this, but I was not. And an interesting point that was brought up in the live show was about how a lot of people expected this book to be kind of dismantling like the Catholic Church and Catholic constitutions and showing the like hypocrisy of them. But it was really like faith forward. There was a lot of like spiritual like holiness injected into their sex scenes, which was very strange. Like I'm not a religious person, so I was like, all right, I'm vibing with it. It's kind of like magical realism, you know? But a lot of people had issue with that and how this didn't really critique the Catholic Church as much as they wanted it to, which I totally get. But Priest is the first in a series, and I will not be continuing with that series. I do not care about the other books. I'm good. The next book on my list is Sharks in the River by Ada Limon. This is poetry. I gave this 3 stars. I'm kind of sad about it because I think the title is interesting and lovely. I think the cover is beautiful. I have read Bright Dead Things by Ada Limon, and I really loved that collection. But this one was just kind of middling for me. I gave it 3 stars. There were maybe like 4 or 5 poems that really hit for me, and the rest of them I was just kind of like, meh. I will say the title poem, Sharks in the River, I did enjoy. Sharks in the Rivers, they're plural. I did enjoy that title poem and maybe 1 or 2 in here, but overall it was just very disconnected for me. So this poetry collection is really focused on the natural world. So sharks and fish and birds and trees, and it kind of lost me. I like there to be something that I can relate to or stick with, and just couldn't. I'm still interested in Ada Limon's other works, but this just wasn't it for me. But this is why I'm trying to read more poetry. I want to find what does work. Next on the list is The Lioness by Chris Bohjalian. This is like a literary fiction adventure story, and I wanted to like this. It sounds so interesting. It sounds so good. I did partly listen to this on audio, partly read it physically. It just took so long for me to finish. So this is about a group of Hollywood people who go to Tanzania on this safari adventure. It's 1964, and then they get kidnapped. And it's sort of a survival story about them trying to survive the wilderness, trying to survive this kidnapping. And like the people who get away, will they even live? So I just wanted more depth. I didn't know what the characters wanted. I didn't know why I should be rooting for them to get away or to survive, because even though we talked about their past a little bit, there just wasn't a driving force. I didn't care. I didn't care about any of the characters. I cared about maybe one. So I will have a reading vlog with this included. So I'll link that down below when it goes up, probably next month. But overall, I gave this 3 stars. There wasn't enough depth. When you have Hollywood characters and you're talking about like the glittering 1960s Hollywood and this famous actress who has like the thing, and then you don't provide any depth, like, oh, she has a tragic backstory and her tragic backstory is what made her a good actress. It's like, and Like, I've read this character before. What are you gonna add? What else are you gonna give me? And it didn't give me much. So, 3 stars. Don't know if I will try anything by this author again, because this wasn't what I wanted. Next, I read Plum Lovin' by Janet Evanovich. This is sort of an in-between the numbers Stephanie Plum novel, and it is about Stephanie trying to like matchmake a couple people. So these in between the numbers books are usually focused on a holiday, and Plum Lovin' is focused on Valentine's, which I guess I read it a little early, but it was cute. It was okay. I like seeing what happens in between the books. I want to like keep up with it, and it's on audio. It's like 3 hours. What else am I gonna do? I'm at work. I gave it 3 stars. And then moving into the 4-star category, I read Lean Mean 13 by Janet Evanovich. I listened to this on audio, and the Stephanie Plum series is sort of a cozy mystery, sort of an adventure. Stephanie Plum is a New Jersey girl, and she becomes a bounty hunter in the first book, and then it just chronicles her bounty hunting adventures. In this book, her ex-husband and she get in this like big public fight, and then he disappears and everyone thinks she's killed him. It's very funny, as always. Lots of shenanigans. The side characters in this are really great. I think I've talked about this before, but I read the first Stephanie Plum book like maybe 10 years ago, and I was in my early 20s, and I was like, this is stupid. Who acts like this? Like, what are you talking about? And now I'm in my 30s. I'm about the same age as Stephanie, and I'm like, oh, this makes more sense. I gave that 4 stars, and I will be continuing with this series. I think I'm on 14 now. At the very beginning of the month, I read Kiss Her Once for Me for Alison Cochrane. This was like the last of my Christmassy romances, and this is a female-female love story where our main character Ellie agrees to date the owner of the cafe shop that she works at, because in order to get his inheritance he has to get married. So they're gonna get married. She agrees to this, they're engaged. The only thing is, before they get married, she's gonna have to spend Christmas with his family, and this is like a week-long cabin Christmas extravaganza because they're rich as heck. So she goes with and finds out that his sister is the magical woman that she spent one day with last Christmas and fell in love with. And so it's wild. So it's got fake dating, it's got a lot of miscommunication, but also some betrayals. So I read this physically, and for the most part, I really liked it. I thought that the connection between the 2 main characters was really good. It's only from Ellie's point of view, which I kind of maybe would have liked another point of view, because she's, you know, very anxious, very down on her luck, perfectionist, but also just like really messy life. Her mother is garbage. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of reasons for her to agree to like marry this man for a year so that she can get the money, because she is really struggling. What I didn't care for was the like cheating aspect, essentially, because Ellie is in love with his sister and he's in love with someone else but won't admit it. So there's a lot of like crossed wires, and just the betrayals were a lot. And I didn't love the love interests, like her end. I didn't care for the ending. Let's just put it that way. It was a cute romance. The Christmas vibes were immaculate, but I gave it 4 stars. The ending just really brought it down. The next book I read was Live and Let Chai by Bree Baker. This is another cozy mystery, and this one I did give 4 stars. I really liked it. Our main character has just moved back to her island town in North Carolina. She bought this big old house and is turning the main floor into a tea shop, and like her grandmother's famous tea recipes. But a man on the city council who is against turning her house into a tea shop is found dead, and the police detective implies that her tea killed him. So this first book is really setting up her struggle with opening this tea shop, the rumors surrounding her, and we also get introduced, there's a bit of a magical element in that like women in her family are cursed to never leave this place. If they do leave, like bad things happen. So there's a little bit of intrigue in terms of like, where's it gonna go? Where's this curse going to go? There's some flirtation between her and the detective. The descriptions of the teas were amazing, and of course in the back it had tea recipes, so love that. Overall, I think the mystery dragged on like a smidge too long. I would have liked it to be like 20 to 30 pages shorter, but overall I really enjoyed it. It was cute. I liked the setting. I liked the main character and her determination to like clear her tea shop's name. I liked the side characters. Her best friend owns a bookstore. Her aunts own a like all natural honey store and like tend bees. So it was overall really cute, really like summery. So excited to, I will be continuing with this series. Getting toward the top of the list, into the 5 stars, we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This was a reread for me, and I adore the main characters in this. Alex, Stern, and Darlington are fantastic. And this is a dark academia fantasy story set at Yale, where the secret societies of Yale are actual secret societies with magic, and Alex gets tapped to join the like police or the like policing house, the Ninth House, which makes sure that the magic is kept in check and other people don't learn about what these secret societies are doing. And Alex can see ghosts, and that's why she's been chosen for this role. This book is just fantastically written. I have a whole vlog about rereading this and then reading Hellbent, so I'll link that down below. But overall, the intrigue in this, the mysteries, the way the various parts of the plot intersect are just incredible. And getting to know Alex and her past and what she's been through it's wonderful. I love it. 5 stars. And then the sequel to Ninth House, Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Again, dark academia, fantasy. This is also set at Yale, and no spoilers in this, but I do have that full spoiler vlog if you've already read these. So this is a continuation of Ninth House. Alex is trying to achieve something to save Darlington, and the world is really expanded in this book. We get more about the magic systems, more about the history of these societies and what they have done and what they have taken from other cultures. I think that my expectations were a little too high going into this. I was too excited about it. I still liked it, and I think upon a reread, I would like it even more. But it was a bit long and a bit slow in the middle, but I did give this 5 stars. I thought it was a good journey, and I'm interested to see what happens in the 3rd book, because the way this ends really opens the door for a lot of different avenues. You know, we could stick with the Yale thing, we could go off on a different track. I'm not sure. And finally, the book that I started in January but did not finish was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I am about 200 pages into this, so I can't say, but I'm enjoying it so far. You'll see this in my February wrap-up. So those are the 11 books that I finished in January, and then the 12th that I started. Let me know if you've read any of these, or what you thought, what your favorite book of January was, maybe. If you like this video, you want to see what happens in February, you could subscribe, but really you can do whatever you want. And I'll see you next time.